This week at Warner Bros. Movie World, some potential exciting updates on Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster, more information about the restaurant building overhaul and the proposed Movie World Hotel, and DC Superheroes and Supervillains comes to a close. Hello everyone, welcome back to the YumYum Report, bringing you bite-sized updates from Australian theme parks, as well as occasional updates from theme parks around the world. Before we start, I'd like to give a quick thanks to the Team YumYum channel members and sponsors. Thank you so much. Village Roadshow's CEO Clark Kirby recently spoke in an interview about some of the upcoming additions to the parks. It was an interesting article which covered quite a lot, ranging from Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster information to some possible hints about the old restaurant building overhaul. So let's break it down. The first thing that caught my eye was the picture of the potential hotel, which has been in discussion for some time here at Movie World. There's somewhat of an arms race going on between Movie World and Dream World, as both parks are in talks of developing and constructing accommodation or hotels. Movie World's potential hotel would be 22 stories with 600 rooms and cost $300 million, which would be located at the front of the park and is obviously a very large building, as you can see in the concept art. It would also feature a large function hall, conference center, and the tower itself would have a sky deck, an infinity pool, as well as restaurants and bars on the 21st floor. I personally think a hotel would be a great addition to Movie World, especially with some of the offerings described, such as the infinity pool, sky deck, and restaurants. I particularly like the idea of a sky deck because you could get some great views of the park and some of the attractions from up there. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about the design of the building in the concept art. It doesn't have much character and kind of seems a bit impersonal, looming over the park with the Village Roadshow logo. I'd love to see something that ties into the theme of the park a bit more and maybe evoked a more warm impression that reminded you of Hollywood and movies. I'd love to see them use some motifs from Hollywood film reels or other film-based iconography. I think there's an obvious golden opportunity there. But broadly speaking, it seems like a lot of corporations opt out for a generic, sleek and soulless appearance, kind of going for more of a minimalistic look. I personally prefer the more classic vibe and get a lot of inspiration from things like the Disney hotels and also the Universal hotels. I think they really incorporate the theming very nicely into the hotel in an elegant way that doesn't feel tacky. So I think Movie World has a lot to play with, and I'd love to see them use those opportunities instead of going for kind of like this ominous supervillain looking tower. What do you think about the hotel? Does it sound exciting to you, or do you think it's a bit too early for a hotel at Movie World? Let me know in the comments. The next point that caught my attention in the article was a brief mention of an upcoming entertainment opportunity which will be added to the park in the coming months. This sounds to me like it has something to do with the restaurant building towards the front of the park, which has been undergoing some work for some time now. Initially there were rumors it would be a grilled, and more rumors that it would be a sports bar, but then Jack's Journeys mentioned something about it being a venue rather than a food option, and Clark Kirby's mention of an entertainment opportunity sounds like something similar to that. The idea of having some new form of entertainment is pretty exciting to me, given that, in my opinion, the performers at Movie World are the highlight of the park for me. I hope it's something movie related and not just another superhero attraction, which seems to be the trend lately. There's not much information about what it could be, and if it's supposed to open in the next few months, there's not a lot of time for something substantial as far as I can see. But then again, I'm not aware of everything that's going on behind the scenes, as it's a bit difficult to sneak a peek inside of this building. Also, Clark Kirby's comment about being revealed in the next few months is a little bit misleading in my opinion. Sort of makes it unclear if he means that it's going to be opening in the next few months, or if they'll literally be announcing what it's going to be used for in the next few months. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But from my perspective, there's a few options they could choose from. Obviously they could do some kind of live entertainment show, which I think could be really fun. Maybe something with a stage, hopefully something to tie in with the movie theme, like I've said. Another thing they could do is some kind of photo opportunity experience. I think calling that an entertainment option though is a little bit of a stretch. I was thinking about maybe a Star Tours style moving theater experience, but I don't think the building is large enough for something like that. What do you think it will be? Let me know in the comments. And of course, last but not least, the main thing that I was interested in from the article was information about the Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster, which is of course my most anticipated attraction here in Australia for 2025. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the only information about Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster was pretty much in line with what we already know. that they're aiming for an opening by the end of 2025. I'm not sure what to make of that. I guess that's good news, but it's not exactly news because they've already been saying that for a long time. Hopefully that means everything's on track. There wasn't really information about what to expect. The last update we had on the ride was last year after Movie World published an article on their website. This is completely secondhand, and I'm not informed at all, but there was some potentially promising news. Maybe. According to someone on the Parks forum, on a local radio show, I'm not sure which one, the topic of Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster came up, and there was talk of some massive surprise within the ride that nobody will expect. Again, I didn't hear the radio show myself, so I don't know what was said, but I wonder what that could mean. Honestly, it's difficult to speculate at the moment, and there's not really anything to go by because we can't see inside the attraction, and Movie World isn't giving anything away. I visit the parks here on the Gold Coast most weeks, and as far as I can see from the outside of Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster, nothing has really changed, so we just have to hope everything is going according to plan, and maybe there's some big new surprises inside. I was excited to revisit the park to check out the Heroes and Villains Parade, which is running for the last few days of the school holiday season here on the Gold Coast. I visited once on Friday afternoon, and I planned to film in front of the Roxy Theatre because I love the lighting there, and I also wanted to film the hero's perspective of the big fight sequence that takes place during the parade. But unfortunately, the lights to the Roxy Theatre were randomly turned off before the parade began. So much of the lighting I planned to shoot wasn't quite how I expected, and there wasn't really much of a light source to film the heroes and villains, so much of my footage was quite dark. On top of that, a lot of my framing was kind of ruined by my unfortunate position where staff needed to be standing that I didn't realize would happen until the parade started, so I wasn't quite able to get the shots that I wanted. I did get a few moments of good footage, which I've tried to edit in, but that's my punishment for not getting to the park early enough and also choosing a terrible spot. Like I said, the Heroes and Villains event wrapped up this weekend, and I thought it was such a great event this year. It's a real highlight at the park, and although I'm not a huge DC superheroes and supervillains fan, it was really fun to check out the park and meet all the characters, so I'm really excited to see it return hopefully next year, as well as Movie World's next events. I think the next one is Fright Nights, which I've never actually attended, so maybe I'll check it out this year and hopefully make a video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, a friendly comment, or subscribe for more. And before we finish, I'd like to give a very special thank you to the Team YumYum members and sponsors for supporting my content. Thank you so much. A very special thank you to the Team YumYum members: Lee Donald, SW Stevie 1, Randall, Maloney's Coasters, Carrie Jackin, Guy on the Internet, Oogie Boogie, Theme Park Ogre, Jordan Casey, Germ, Medic Brick, Johnny Boy 175, Movies Like Everyone, and Senpai's JP Blue Dog, and a special thanks to the Team YumYum sponsors, Koala75, and Audrey Allen. Thank you so much again to all the members and sponsors for supporting my content. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos enough to support me in this way. And for anyone who would like to become a member or a sponsor, you're more than welcome to do so. This will give you access to new videos early. You'll also get a special shout out and thanks at the end of my videos. Some emojis to use in the comments, a little sticker next to your username, and last but not least, you'll also get a hand-drawn illustration by me to suit your very needs and requirements. And for my sponsors, I will also animate this character doing a little dance on screen, which will be super fun and super cute. But if you're not in a position to support the channel this way, you're more than welcome to support by leaving a like, a friendly comment, or subscribing for more. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.